So, is India on the verge of becoming the next global superpower? You hear it all the time, right? But behind all those optimistic headlines, there's a really high stakes balancing act going on. We're talking about incredible potential versus some pretty serious risks. So, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the numbers and the politics to figure out which way the scales might actually tip. Okay, so this right here, this is the official story. It's the message India's leadership wants the world to hear loud and clear. It's a powerful message of hope, painting this picture of a nation that's not just rising, but is actually ready to lead. The big question, though, is this. Is that vision built on solid ground, or is it maybe a bit of a mirage? And that's really our job here, to look past the rhetoric. I mean, hope is a powerful thing, for sure, but the data can be pretty stubborn. So let's put all that optimism to the test and see if the facts actually back it up. All right, first things first. We've got to understand what's fueling this engine of opportunity. Because let's be clear, there are some very real, very powerful reasons why the entire world is paying such close attention to India right now. And a lot of it boils down to this one single number, 869 million. Just think about that for a second. That's the projected number of working-age people in India. So while you've got the West and even China getting older, India is right in the middle of this massive youth boom. This is without a doubt its single greatest asset. And here's what that youth boom actually looks like. See how this population pyramid is just bulging right in the middle? That's what economists get really excited about. They call it the demographic bonus. It's basically this golden window of opportunity where you have a massive working age population that can, in theory, totally supercharge economic growth. But it's not just about the population numbers. India's economy has also been incredibly resilient, growing year after year, mostly driven by its own domestic demand. And on top of that, you've got this explosion in tech capacity. We're talking huge digital systems and a really fast adoption of AI in both the government and the private sector. Okay, but here's the really crucial point. All these incredible strengths, the demographics, the growing economy, the tech, they only create the possibility of success. They're absolutely not a guarantee. And that brings us to the other side of the story. Because for every single one of those opportunities, there's a pretty big risk that could act like an anchor, just holding India back. These are the critical internal challenges that could, honestly, stop that engine before it ever really gets up to full speed. And this is Exhibit A for where that demographic bonus could become a demographic bomb. Just look at these numbers. In India, only 2% of the workforce has formal skills. 2%. Now compare that to Germany at 75%, or South Korea at a staggering 96%. I mean, that's not just a gap, that's a chasm. And this skills gap has very real consequences. We're seeing projections in key industrial states showing a shortfall of millions, literally millions of skilled workers. This gets right to the heart of the challenge, doesn't it? How do you turn a huge population into a truly productive workforce? Because without the right skills, that whole demographic bonus just goes to waste. The second major risk holding things back is a deficit in innovation. India's spending on research and development is just low, especially from the private sector. And what happens then? Well, it leads to a brain drain, where the country's best and brightest just pack up and leave for better opportunities elsewhere. It's kind of this slow-burning crisis that risks leaving India dependent on technology from other countries. So you've got these major internal challenges, and then you throw in a complex and pretty dangerous world on top of it. See, India isn't just trying to manage its own growth in a vacuum. It's also walking this incredibly fine geopolitical tightrope, caught between all these competing global powers. And a perfect example of this tightrope walk is something called the INSTC. Now, what is that? Well, it's this huge project, a network of ships, rails, and roads designed to connect India with Central Asia and Europe, basically creating a whole new trade route. It's a really big deal for India's ambitions to expand its trade and its global influence. And guess what's right at the heart of this massive plan? Iran. As you can see from this timeline, India has been carefully and deliberately building a strategic relationship with Iran for more than 20 years. So this isn't some new thing, it's a long-term strategic play, a key part of India's foreign policy. The absolute crown jewel of this partnership is the Chabahar port. Developing this port gives India a direct, vital gateway into Afghanistan and Central Asia. That's a huge deal for its trade and for its energy security. But this partnership with Iran, well, it puts India in a really tough spot. On the one hand, it's this amazing gateway to energy, new trade routes, and more influence in the region. But on the other hand, it's a total diplomatic minefield. You've got US sanctions, growing competition from China in the same area, and just general instability. It's a constant pressure cooker. So, after all that, where does this leave us? Well, when you start to put all the pieces together, the massive opportunities and those serious risks, a much clearer, more balanced picture starts to take shape. Really, you can think of it like a balance sheet. In the assets column, you've got that incredible youth boom, a surprisingly resilient economy, and a fast-growing tech sector. But then you look at the liabilities column, and you see a massive skills gap, a serious innovation deficit, and a really tricky geopolitical landscape to navigate. Ultimately, what this all tells us is that India's future won't be decided by optimistic slogans. It's all going to come down to execution, because potential just isn't the same thing as performance. Turning that demographic bonus into a real, tangible dividend, that's going to take sustained, difficult, and incredibly careful action. And this is what's truly at stake. We're talking about the future for hundreds of millions of young people. And, just maybe, the future of the entire global balance of power. Which brings us back to that final, critical question. Can India actually translate all of this immense potential into real, lasting power? The whole world is watching.